A Wheel of Fortune contestant has revealed that Pat Sajak and Vanna White crashed her honeymoon, and her husband nearly crashed into Vanna. The hilarious and sweet moment comes as the duo's long time together is ending and Pat, 77, is retiring on June 7, 2024. Pat kicked things off on Tuesday night by interviewing the mom of two and asked, "Now Vanna and I were on your honeymoon?" The broadcast cut to Vanna, 66, who threw up her arms and looked caught off guard, unsure what was coming. The contestant explained that their honeymoon coincidentally came as the iconic duo was filming a commercial spot. She said, "So when my husband and I went on our honeymoon, you guys were filming promos there. So we watched you film by the pool, on the beach, and even one night we were having dinner. I excused myself from the table, and when I came back, my husband told me, I nearly walked into Vanna. And I had no idea." Pat replied, laughing, "Well, there you go, I'm glad we could be a part of your honeymoon, and I'm sorry about knocking on the wall the way I did." Laura went to the bonus round with the highest score of $38,030, a trip to the Caribbean, and was joined by her husband offsides, whom Pat called my old friend. Laura could not solve the tough puzzle as were Wild Year, but Pat admitted the $40,000 bonus prize she missed out on was nearly equal to what she won. Pat's wrapped filming. Meanwhile, Pat has not only set his last day as host but taped his farewell episode, the U.S. Sun can exclusively reveal. He will bid farewell to the masses at the end of season 41 on Friday, June 7, 2024. But a rep for Wheel of Fortune exclusively confirmed to the U.S. Sun that Pat has filmed his last slate of 6 episodes on April 5, 2024. This includes his final episode, fittingly titled Thanks for the Memories, and is already filmed, the show exclusively shared. That means Pat is done hosting the show and the episode's fans are seeing come as he's already retired. The episode will be a TV milestone as the host has doled out puzzles and prizes alongside Vanna White, 66, since 1981 and 1982 respectively. The show did not share if Pat's farewell episode will be an all-out tribute with memories from over the years or simply a normal game ending with him saying goodbye. Tickets for Pat's penultimate 5 episodes were open to the public at the last minute, while his farewell episode was reportedly not open to the public and was invite-only. Pat announced in spring of 2023 that he'd be leaving the iconic game show and that season 41 would be his last. Shortly after, Ryan Seacrest announced on Instagram that he would replace Pat as the new host come fall 2024. Vanna will be joining Ryan for at least his first 2 seasons as host under her new contract. The show airs weekdays at 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time on ABC, so fans can catch his send-off on June 7 at that time. It was a bright Wednesday evening on the set of Wheel of Fortune, where the familiar sounds of spinning wheels and cheering audiences echoed through the studio. Pat Sajak, the beloved host, stood in front of the giant puzzle board, his trademark smile beaming as he welcomed viewers to another exciting episode. Next to him, Vanna White, ever radiant, waved to the audience, her grace as captivating as ever. As the show progressed through rounds of contestants solving puzzles, the atmosphere was lively. Pat engaged in his usual banter with the contestants, but little did he know that tonight would deliver a twist he never anticipated. The third contestant, a cheerful woman named Rebecca, was a lively personality with a contagious laugh. As she spun the wheel, it landed on a hefty $5,000. The audience erupted into applause. With each letter she revealed, Pat couldn't help but notice how endearing Rebecca was, not just for her enthusiasm but for her authentic connection with the audience. After successfully solving the puzzle, a phrase that read magical honeymoon adventure, the crowd cheered wildly. As the applause faded, Pat took the opportunity to ask her about her honeymoon. "What was the highlight of your honeymoon, Rebecca?" Pat inquired, leaning forward with interest. Rebecca beamed at the camera. "Oh, it was definitely the surprise trip we took to Hawaii. But the real kicker happened before we left." Intrigued, Pat gestured for her to continue. "Go on. This sounds interesting." "Well," she started, a mischievous glint in her eye, "we were at this little cafe in our hometown, and guess who I ran into? Vanna White." Pat's eyebrows shot up in surprise, and he exchanged a quick glance with Vanna, who looked equally intrigued. Vanna White? No way! What happened? Rebecca laughed. I couldn't believe it either. I was so starstruck that I practically dropped my coffee. I rushed over to her and introduced myself, telling her that I was a huge fan. She was so sweet and friendly. Vanna smiled warmly, nodding as Rebecca continued. I told her I was about to go on my honeymoon, and she wished me all the best. Then I jokingly asked if she would come to my wedding. You know, just for fun. Pat chuckled. And did she say yes? Well, Rebecca replied, her grin growing wider. She laughed and said she'd consider it if she could wear a bridesmaid dress that matched her outfits on the show. But here's where it gets wild. Pat leaned in, clearly captivated. Do tell. So, we're chatting, and I mention my husband's obsession with Wheel of Fortune. He's seen every episode for years. Vanna joked that she should give him a call to wish him luck in life. I thought she was kidding. Pat and Vanna exchanged a look, both highly amused. What happened next? Pat prompted, eager to hear the conclusion. After we finished talking, Vanna gave me her personal number and told me to have my husband call her. Rebecca exclaimed, her voice full of disbelief. I was like, is this really happening? I saved her number, and my husband was both thrilled and nervous when I told him. The audience erupted in laughter, but Pat was taken aback. Wow! That's amazing. Did he call her? Rebecca chuckled. Of course he did. We both thought it would be hilarious. He was on the phone with her for like 15 minutes, just gushing about how he loved watching her on the show. And Vanna, being the incredible person she is, actually remembered me in the story. Vanna blushed, clearly touched by the memory. Oh my goodness. I do remember that. Your husband was so sweet. He even said that I inspired him to take a chance on love. Pat chuckled again. I can't believe you guys pulled that off. Vanna, you're always making dreams come true. Only when it comes to Wheel of Fortune. Vanna quipped, her wit shining through. The segment transitioned smoothly, but the energy in the studio had shifted. The audience seemed even more invested, and Pat couldn't help but feel a warmth swell within him. This was the heart of the show, stories that touched lives, moments of laughter, and a little bit of magic that came from the unexpected. As the show progressed, Rebecca continued to shine, solving puzzles and racking up impressive winnings. Yet, every time she spoke, she couldn't help but reference her honeymoon encounter with Vanna. Can you believe that? My husband thought he was getting a call from a celebrity, and he ended up making a friend. Rebecca beamed.